World War III doesn't start with missiles. It starts with empty shelves, and you've got 6 days before panic buying clears every store within 50 miles. Most preppers will rush out and buy the wrong things. They'll grab rice, beans, canned soup, bottled water, batteries. They'll spend $3,000 and build a stockpile that kills them by month 4. Because survival food storage isn't about volume. It's about understanding what the human body actually needs to function for a year without resupply. Protein density, fat-soluble vitamins, mineral cofactors, preservation chemistry, water purification capacity, cooking infrastructure, the science that separates a pile of food from a functioning survival system. There are 17 critical supplies that deliver all of this, not 50, not 100. 17 items that form a complete nutritional and logistical system capable of feeding your family for 12 months through total supply chain collapse. Here's the list they don't want you buying all at once. Every prepper I've ever met has the same problem. They don't know it yet, but they do. You've got 50-pound bags of rice, buckets of wheat berries, oats, pasta, freeze-dried meals with 30-year shelf lives, mountains of carbohydrates wrapped in mylar and stacked on shelving. You look at it and feel safe. That feeling is going to kill you. Here's what they don't tell you. The human body doesn't run on calories. It runs on amino acids, fatty acids, vitamins, and minerals that calories deliver. Or don't. A 2,000-calorie diet of rice and beans gives you 48 grams of protein per day. For a 70-kilogram adult under collapse conditions, you need 1.6 to 2 grams per kilogram. That's 112 to 140 grams. You're getting less than half. Your body doesn't negotiate the timeline. Week 3, your immune system starts failing. Cuts don't heal. Week 6, muscle wasting becomes visible. Your body is eating itself to keep critical systems running. Week 8, you're too weak to chop wood or haul water. You're surrounded by food and starving at the molecular level. Why is every stockpile built this way? Cost. Rice is 20 cents per pound. Canned salmon is $4. The survival industry sells you what's cheap, not what works. They market shelf life and calorie density. They don't mention amino acid profiles because customers don't know to ask. You're buying the illusion of preparedness. Here's what actually works. Supply 1, canned fish, salmon, sardines, mackerel. Complete protein with omega-3 fatty acids. Shelf life 5+ years. Supply 2, peanut butter powder. 16 grams protein per quarter cup. Stores 10+ years in mylar. Supply 3, whey protein isolate. 90% protein by weight. Shelf stable for years. Supply 4, ghee. Pure fat, no refrigeration needed, delivers fat-soluble vitamin carriers. Supply 5, vacuum-sealed nuts. Protein, fat, and micronutrients in one package. These 5 supplies deliver what carbohydrates don't. Complete proteins, essential fatty acids, nutrient density that keeps bodies functional under stress. But here's the problem. Protein keeps you alive. Fat keeps you functional. Neither matters if your nervous system starts eating itself from vitamin deficiencies you didn't see coming. That's the second collapse. You've solved the protein problem. You're eating 2,000 calories a day. Your stomach is full. 8 weeks into collapse, your gums start bleeding when you brush your teeth. Small cuts on your hands aren't healing. You're confused, tired, can't think straight. This isn't hunger. This is scurvy. And it's how collapse kills you before the food runs out. The human body can't make vitamin C. It can't synthesize B vitamins. It can't produce essential minerals. You need a constant external supply or systems start shutting down. Here's the timeline. Vitamin C deficiency leads to scurvy in 8 to 12 weeks. Symptoms start with bleeding gums, then bruising, then wounds that won't close. Sailors died from this for centuries. Vitamin B1 deficiency causes beriberi in 4 to 6 weeks. Your peripheral nerves start failing. You lose feeling in your hands and feet. Eventually, your heart stops. Vitamin B3 deficiency gives you pellagra in 8 weeks. Dermatitis, diarrhea, dementia, death. That's the medical shorthand. The reality is you go insane before you die. These aren't historical diseases. They're waiting in your stockpile right now. Because here's what the survival industry doesn't advertise. Heat processing destroys water-soluble vitamins. That freeze-dried meal you paid $12 for, the vitamin C is already gone. Canned vegetables, cooked at high temperature to kill bacteria. The B vitamins break down. You're eating sterile food that keeps you alive, but slowly disables you at the cellular level. So what actually works? Supply 6, vitamin C powder. Pure ascorbic acid in crystalline form. 50 grams gives you 50,000 milligrams. Under stress, you need 2,000 to 3,000 milligrams per day. That's a year's supply in one container. Stores 10+ years in a sealed container away from heat and light. Supply 7, B-complex sublingual tablets. Methylated forms that absorb under the tongue. Bypass digestion. Go straight into your bloodstream. Supply 8, desiccated liver tablets. Concentrated source of B12, iron, and fat-soluble vitamins your body can't get from plants. Supply 9, spirulina or chlorella powder. Complete micronutrient profile in a form that doesn't degrade. NASA studied this for long-duration space missions. It works. You can buy all of this right now. Now Foods makes medical-grade supplements. Bulk Supplement sells pure powders. $100 gets you a year's supply of micronutrients that won't degrade in storage. But here's the problem. You've got protein. You've got fats. You've got vitamins. And all of it is dying in your basement right now. Because the enemy isn't hunger. It's oxygen. You sealed everything in Mylar bags. You threw in oxygen absorbers. You twisted gamma lids onto 5-gallon buckets. You think it's preserved. Wrong. Here's what's happening inside those bags right now. Your food is dying. Not from bacteria, not from insects. From chemistry, you can't stop with a piece of plastic and a packet of iron powder. There are 4 enemies killing your stockpile. Oxygen, moisture, light, heat, and they're working together to turn your year's supply into toxic waste before you need it. Start with oxygen. The moment you seal food with residual air inside, oxidation begins. Unsaturated fats react with oxygen to form peroxides. Those peroxides break down into aldehydes. Aldehydes are what you smell when oil goes rancid. That's not just bad flavor. It's cellular damage. Your body can't process oxidized fats. They're inflammatory, potentially carcinogenic. And here's the timeline. Nuts stored at room temperature with air exposure go rancid in 3 to 6 months. That vacuum-sealed bag of almonds you put in the closet 18 months ago? Open it. Smell it. It smells like paint thinner. That's oxidative rancidity. Now add moisture. Food stored above 14% moisture content will grow mold. Doesn't matter if it's sealed. If the moisture is trapped inside with the food, mold spores activate. They're everywhere, on every surface, in every grain of rice. They're waiting for water. You seal a bucket of wheat with 12% moisture, you're fine. You seal it at 15%, you've built an incubator. 3 months later, you open it to black fuzz and mycotoxins that will destroy your liver. Light destroys vitamins through photodegradation. Vitamin A breaks down in UV exposure. Vitamin E oxidizes in weeks if exposed to air and light. Vitamin C, the one you need most, degrades in months, even in ideal conditions. And heat accelerates everything. For every 10 degrees Celsius increase in storage temperature, chemical reaction rates double. Your garage in summer hits 40 degrees Celsius. That's 30 degrees above optimal. Your food is aging 8 times faster than it should. So why do typical oxygen absorbers fail? Size. Most preppers buy 100 cc absorbers. You need 300 cc for a 1-gallon container. The absorber gets saturated before it removes all the oxygen. You've still got residual air. Still got oxidation. And if there's moisture in the bag, it activates the absorber prematurely. You seal the bag thinking it's protected. The absorber is already spent. So what actually works? The equipment the survival industry doesn't advertise because it solves the problem permanently. The answer isn't more Mylar bags. It's understanding what each enemy requires to be defeated, and then buying the equipment that actually does it. Supply 10. Oxygen absorbers. But not the ones you're using. You need 300 cc capacity for a 1-gallon container. 2,000 cubic centimeters for a 5-gallon bucket. Most preppers buy 100 cubic centimeter packets because they're cheap. That absorber gets saturated before it removes all the oxygen. You've still got residual air destroying your food. The chemistry is simple. Iron powder oxidizes in the presence of moisture and oxygen. It rusts. That rust reaction consumes the oxygen in the container. But if there's more oxygen than the iron can consume, you lose. PackFresh sells properly sized absorbers. $10 for a pack that actually works versus $3 for a pack that doesn't. Supply 11. Desiccant packets with moisture indicators. Silica gel absorbs water from the air. When it's saturated, it turns from blue to pink. You can see when it's spent. 10 grams per quart of storage volume. Rechargeable in the oven at 200 degrees for 2 hours. Dry it out, use it again. Infinite lifespan if you maintain it. Supply 12. Chamber vacuum sealer. Not an edge sealer. Edge sealers remove 80% of the air. Chamber vacuum sealers remove 99.9%. The difference matters. That residual air in an edge-sealed bag is enough oxygen to oxidize fats and destroy vitamins. A chamber vacuum creates negative pressure around the entire bag, collapsing it completely, removing everything. They cost more, $300 to $600 versus $40 for an edge sealer. But here's the business model. The $40 edge sealer fails in 2 years. You upgrade. You buy replacement bags that only work with that brand. You're subscribed. The chamber vacuum lasts 20 years and works with any bag. You buy it once. They lose you as a customer. Supply 13. Gamma seal lids for buckets. Airtight, gasketed, reusable. Twist on, twist off. Prevents oxygen from re-entering after you've purged it. Standard 5-gallon bucket lids aren't airtight. They let gas exchange happen slowly. Gamma seals don't. $8 per lid. They outlast the bucket. Here's how they work together. Chamber vacuum removes bulk air. Oxygen absorber consumes residual oxygen. Desiccant removes moisture. Gamma seal prevents re-entry. Properly stored food in this system lasts 20 to 25 years at full nutritional value. Not marketing. Chemistry. But perfectly preserved food is useless if you can't purify water to rehydrate it or cook it without burning your house down. That's where most preppers fail next. Infrastructure. You've got 500 pounds of perfectly preserved food, and you're going to die of cholera from the creek water you use to rehydrate it. Food storage without water purification is suicide with extra steps. The moment the grid fails, municipal water stops. Treatment plants run on electricity. You've got 48 hours of residual pressure, then nothing. Boiling kills bacteria. E. coli, cholera, salmonella die at 100 degrees Celsius. 1 minute at a rolling boil, you're safe from bacterial contamination. But bacteria aren't the only threat. Protozoan cysts, Giardia and Cryptosporidium. 5 to 15 microns, wrapped in shells that survive in water for months. Boiling kills them. But it doesn't kill viruses efficiently unless you maintain a full boil for 3 to 5 minutes. Most people see bubbles and stop. That's not enough. Viruses are 0.02 to 0.3 microns. Norovirus, hepatitis A, rotavirus. They pass through most survival filters. The Sawyer Mini is rated to 0.1 micron. Stops bacteria and protozoa. Doesn't stop viruses. Life Straw, same problem. Brita filters are cosmetic. They remove chlorine taste. They're not rated for pathogens. You're drinking filtered dirt. Chemical purification fails too. Chlorine kills bacteria and viruses, but not Cryptosporidium cysts without extreme concentrations. Iodine works, but damages your thyroid. Use it for weeks, and you're causing endocrine problems. Then there's cooking fuel. A 20-pound propane tank gives you 18 hours at medium heat. maybe 60 meals. You need 6 tanks for a year. When they run out, what then? Firewood. Gathering enough to cook 3 meals per day burns 500 to 800 calories. You're spending energy to generate energy, and you're depleting the area. Every prepper within 5 miles is stripping the same woods. 3 months, and it's gone. The average prepper is carrying 40 pounds of gear to gather wood, burning 600 calories, to cook a meal worth 400 calories. You're losing 200 calories per meal. That's starvation math. So what actually works? Water purification that doesn't consume filters. Cooking methods that don't require fuel resupply. The solution isn't stockpiling propane. It's understanding pathogen kill zones and thermodynamic efficiency. Supply 14, gravity water filter. Berkey or Pro 1. These use ceramic filter elements with silver-impregnated carbon. They remove bacteria, protozoa, heavy metals, and chemical contaminants. Gravity-fed. No power needed. Each filter set processes 6,000 gallons before replacement. That's 16 gallons per day for a year. Cost, $300 to $400. Lifespan, 10 years of continuous use. That's 7 cents per 6 gallons over the filter's lifetime. Supply 15, UV water purifier. SteriPen or equivalent. Ultraviolet light at 254 nanometers destroys viral DNA. 90 seconds of exposure kills everything. Bacteria, protozoa, viruses. Battery-powered or solar rechargeable. Each bulb handles 8,000 liters. Backup for the gravity system when you need speed. Supply 16, calcium hypochlorite powder. This makes chlorine solution. 1 pound treats 10,000 gallons of water. Mix it fresh each time. Stores for 10+ years as a powder. $40 gets you a decade of chemical backup purification. Supply 17, rocket stove. Not a campfire, not a propane burner, a rocket stove. Insulated combustion chamber with a J-shaped fuel feed. Burns twigs and small branches with 75% more efficiency than an open fire. You can cook a meal with a handful of sticks that would barely start a campfire. The efficiency comes from complete combustion and heat retention. No fuel supply needed, no propane tanks, no dependency. Why doesn't the outdoor industry sell these? Because a Berkey filter lasts 10 years. The outdoor brands want you buying replacement cartridges every 3 months. A rocket stove lasts forever. They want you buying propane canisters monthly. These supplies break the subscription model. You buy once, you're out of their revenue stream permanently. Now you've got 17 supplies. But if you think this is a shopping list, you've already failed. These aren't items. They're a system. Most preppers have a list. You need a system. Here's the difference. A list is what to buy. A system is what keeps you alive when pieces fail. The 17 supplies aren't independent items. They're nodes in a dependency network. Protein without water means you can't digest it. Your body needs water to break down amino acids. Water without fuel means you can't purify it reliably. Boiling requires heat. Vitamins without fat means you can't absorb the fat-soluble ones. Vitamins A, D, E, and K require dietary fat as a carrier molecule. Without fat in your diet, they pass through your system unused. Here's how failure cascades. If your water purification fails, you get dehydrated or sick from contaminated water. Dehydration and illness prevent digestion. You can't process the stored food. Your calorie surplus becomes useless because your body can't extract the nutrients. You're surrounded by food and you're shutting down. Why checklists fail? They don't account for redundancy. They don't map dependencies. They don't analyze failure modes. A checklist says buy rice, buy water filter. Done. A system says you need 3 ways to purify water because if one method fails, you have backups. Gravity filter, UV purifier, chemical treatment. 3 separate failure points. All 3 have to collapse before you're out of options. That's anti-fragile design. The 17 supplies form the minimum viable system. Each category has built-in redundancy. Multiple protein sources. Multiple micronutrient forms. multiple preservation methods, multiple purification systems. Each method has a backup. If one fails, the system adapts. Mainstream prepper advice doesn't teach this. They sell you lists. Buy this, buy that. Check the box. They don't teach systems thinking. They don't teach failure mode analysis. They don't teach dependency mapping. Because a person who understands systems doesn't need to keep buying. And here's why this matters beyond food. The pattern you just learned applies to every survival category. The same system that buries permanent solutions in food storage buries them everywhere. This isn't about food storage. It's about why every industry hides permanent solutions. The survival industry runs on the same business model as every consumer market. Planned obsolescence wrapped in fear-based marketing. They don't want you solving problems. They want you managing problems, renting solutions, coming back every 3 to 5 years. Look at the pattern. Energy storage. They sell you lithium batteries that die in 5 years instead of nickel-iron batteries that last a century. Insulation. They sell you down jackets that compress and fail instead of aerogel that works permanently. Communication. They sell you monthly cell service instead of mesh networks you own. And food storage. They sell you freeze-dried meals with built-in expiration dates instead of teaching you preservation chemistry that actually works. Why aren't the 17 supplies advertised? Because they solve the problem. A chamber vacuum sealer lasts 20 years. Gravity filters process 6,000 gallons. Rocket stoves burn indefinitely. Desiccants recharge forever. You buy once. You're done. You're out of their revenue stream permanently. The economic incentive is clear. A customer who solves their problem is a customer they lose, so they exploit information asymmetry. They have the chemistry knowledge. You have the fear. Fear plus ignorance equals purchases without optimization. They sell you what keeps you dependent, not what makes you independent. True preparedness isn't stockpiling items. It's understanding failure modes. It's mapping dependencies. It's building systems that don't break when one piece fails. The moment you shift from consumer to systems thinker, you stop being a revenue source. You become ungovernable. And here's the final truth they can't market around. Physics doesn't care about quarterly earnings. Chemistry doesn't negotiate with business models. Thermodynamics doesn't respect profit margins. The 17 supplies work because they're built on science that predates corporations and will outlast them. You're not shopping anymore. You're engineering resilience. And that makes all the difference.